Hello there, my Madison High School wonderful pieces of sentient stardust. Welcome to week 3 of American literature. I hope you all are staying safe and warm and you have not gotten trapped or anything like that. Um, I don't know exactly what everybody's situation is. I just wanted to let you all know I'm, of course, going to be flexible with work this week. Um, we're going to keep on trucking and moving along because I'm going to follow AB Tech schedule, but I wanted to make sure that all this information was out to you and just kind of keep me in the loop as you have electricity and internet. Okay, so a couple of things that I just wanted to make sure was super clear is one, I know that we've talked about it a little bit before, but I want to reiterate my AI policy. AI is not to be used on any forum post or any formative assessment, including annotations. Okay. Um, I understand that since we're in online class, annotations can sometimes be difficult, but what I want to make sure is super clear is that annotations need to be your own personal engagement with the text. And so I need to see that you're having a personal engagement with the text. And then the same thing kind of goes for discussions. Since we're in an asynchronous environment, I can't see your faces. A lot of that conversation is going to come from those contexts. That being said, if you would like to post a video of you like speaking your discussion, that's okay too. I'm happy to work with modalities here. But let's go ahead. I'm going to go in to a little bit of an overview of the week. I'm going to try to make this fairly quick because I feel like I could maybe like talk a lot about all of these concepts, and I want to make sure that you guys get a chance to chew on them. So, all right. So this week we're going to kind of we're going to dabble in some stuff on the realism, naturalism, and Gilded Age. This is a really good time period for American literature. So what we'll go over a little bit is like kind of the vibe that comes out of that age, steamboats and the realistic settings and all of that. And so you're going to be reading some Mark Twain, War Prayer. You're going to be reading some of my girl Kate Chopin. You're going to be reading some Emily Dickinson, again, American classic. And they're kind of all within this like, 70-year time frame, give and take like a little bit of time. And so it's really interesting to see how these voices kind of evolve a lot over the course of that time period. And so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be reading uh, these pieces. And so I'm going to come to them in a second when I do the presentation. And then what I want to make sure that you have noticed here is that you've got the Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin, and then the slides that I'm going to use here. If you open the Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin, what you're going to see here is that it is again a document, and this document is again an annotation document. I am very much enjoying the comments that I'm seeing people get into when they're reading these pieces. And so, as you are engaging in your annotations, I try to give you some annotation ideas here, but I do want to see that everybody is engaging and having conversations, even though you may have conversations where you are, I can't see them, and so this is like a way for us to have a digital conversation. So, kind of in that vein, so what your tasks are for the week is my expectation is that you're going to do all the readings up here, but then you're going to have your second reading reflection, and you're going to have a writing workshop, and then a place for you to process the women in realism stuff. So, here are your 3 tasks. Okay, recreating Hannibal, Missouri is a creative writing activity, so please have fun with it. Enjoy. You can feel free to use any digital images that you would like to supplement that, but it's writing a la Mark Twain. And then you have a reading response on Mark Twain here. Thank you for your response papers on Native Americans. I am using some of my snow day to make sure that I give you feedback on those. So thank you for your patience. I was trying to get all my classes launched and I haven't been able to give you feedback yet, but I will be giving you feedback ASAP. And then the last thing that you need to know is that Women in Realism is your forum post. So interact on the annotation document and then have a conversation here. I look forward to seeing all those conversations as we get moving. Okay, so now that we've had a chance to kind of touch base on all of the housekeeping items, let's go ahead and start on the important stuff, which is what are we doing this week? All right, so I'm going to start at the beginning. Please don't throw up. Okay. All right, so here is what we're going to start. We're going to start Mark Twain and realism and naturalism, period. Okay. If I've talked too slow, you're welcome to speed me up as long as you're able to catch on to everything that I say. All right, so here are your readings for this week. So the War Prayer, which is a satirical piece, and so satire, we're going to go over a little bit today. You're going to read some Emily Dickinson poems that I have put onto one document for you. There are also some more that are Inner Norton. Please feel free to read as much of her as you want. She's amazing. So one of the things that I wanted you to know is that you're going to be reading some of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. You're also going to supplement that with reading Toni Morrison's Intro to Huck Finn, which is going to create a bit of a complication with how we view Huckleberry Finn and some of the approaches that Twain had to like this post-Civil War America. So I look forward to seeing what you guys say on your discussion board. And again, no use of AI, but please feel free to go in deep and ask interesting questions. All right, so a couple of things I could just kind of start with. The Gilded Age was a term coined by Twain in his 1873 novel called The Gilded Age. It was specifically noted an era of rapid economic growth, and it created political corruption and materialism. So it kind of came out right after the last section we talked about with the Civil War, focused on depicting life and society accurately. And so realism kind of came out as like a way of stripping down idealism and depicting social conditions as an inescapable force. And also this kind of like focus in on regionalism, which is specific geographical areas and the local color that came from those areas. So I don't know if you all are fans, but I am a huge fan of this show called Over the Garden Wall. And so Lullaby in Frogland is one of my personal favorites. And it has this very Mark Twain like vibe. And so I want to go ahead and kind of show you a clip from that. No, I don't know if it'll let me play it. Well, I think that it's blocking me from the recording of it, but that's okay. We could come back to that. Sure. But if you ever have a chance, you can go and watch Lullaby in Frogland. It's a fantastic representation of Mark Twain. I'm going to see if I can bring up a clip on YouTube real quick. So just give me a second. This technology, man, it's always fun. Okay, Lullaby in Frogland. Because Amazon Prime does not like projecting anything.
Yeah, here we go.
Ow, 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 ow.
And they're on the same boat too.
At night, when the lake is a mirror
Huh?
and the moon rides the waves to the shore, a single soul sets his voice singing, content to be slightly forlorn. A song rises over the lilies, sweeps high to clear over the reeds, and over the bulrushes sway to pluck at a pair of heartstrings.
Hey, Beatrice, thanks for supporting my bassooning.
Yeah, you're actually good.
The best part is, we're still on track to get to Adelaide's.
Yep, that's great.
You don't seem thrilled.
Well, I don't want you to... Never mind.
Carries their reverie on. Over the treetops and mountains, over the blackened ravines, then softly it falls by a house near a stream, and over the garden wall to thee.
I knew you were special.
So I love that as a representation of like this time period, that very like musical element. We've got the ferry boat, we've got the beautiful like regional color. It's a very distinct moment in American literary history. And so this is a little bit about Mark Twain and his style. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but it gives you kind of a little bit of a picture about him. And this comes from
I was made
Mark
merely
Burns'
in the image of
documentary.
God, but not otherwise resembling him enough to be mistaken for him by anybody but a very nearsighted person. I believe that our Heavenly Father invented man because he was disappointed in the monkey. Mark Twain.
So that gives you kind of a taste of Mark Twain. His name was Samuel Clemens, but it came from a riverboat term, which is why he's usually coined as the author most associated with riverboats. But he's the father of what some people consider the father of American literature, and because he brought a distinct American voice. And so some of the things that you're going to see in his writing is you're going to see that there's a lot of humor, irony, exaggeration, and then a lot of hypocrisy, of social injustice. And so we see the riverboat and kind of pay attention to this idea of the riverboat as like this American representation. So he's most well known for the Huckleberry Finn, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which if you are interested in exploring in more detail, there's a book called Jim by one of my favorite authors named Percival Everett, which is about this book told from Jim's perspective. And so this is a first person narration. It's by Huck Finn. It's controversial because it uses the N word. And because that is such a hateful word in American canon, it's really interesting to look at the text from Toni Morrison's perspective, who is my favorite author, but she's also a Black female author from American literature. So some of his influences, he was the one who pioneered a lot of vernacular in American literary voice, influenced the development of realistic fiction, shaped American humor, and he explored the complexities of post-Civil War American landscape. And so I'm going to go to Toni Morrison's entrance. And so her introduction gives this interesting critical lens about the nuanced argument that is raised by the use of the N word in Huckleberry Finn. So she goes into the tensions between Huck's moral instincts and societal expectations, and like the racialized language and how we see it now versus what it was like in this time period. And then just like how can we reconcile that as more contemporary readers? But it is interesting to see and to question like whether the perspective challenges or enhances your understanding of the book that way. And then I can't get out of this time period without bringing your attention to Emma Lazarus's The New Colossus. It is really interesting for you to look at this and to kind of consider what's going on with immigration right now in America, because this piece was written about shaping the American landscape for letting people in and making sure that we are the melting pot and the mother that will be the mother of exiles and bring in all of the immigrants, and just kind of how that idea has changed over the last several years. And last but not least, Kate Chopin during this time period. She was a more subversive feminist voice because she was really writing about like the issues within social propriety, but she was a sensitive and daring woman. And so she created complex characters that were kind of trapped in situations. So she kind of blended in some realism, some romanticism, some naturalism, and so that created this interesting transitional period of writing where like we have a lot of the like values of the past, but then she's also capturing the reality and the visceral reaction of what that's like for women. And so she's got a lot of like pre-feminist conversations that come up, especially in Story of an Hour. So really enjoy that conversation with your classmates. And so she uses irony. So paying special attention to the use of irony in her piece. And then also Twain uses satire. And so this emergence of language as having all of these different meanings for what we actually mean versus how we present meaning. And there's some more details on here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and bypass them because I feel like we have a pretty good baseline for this time period. So remember your to-dos. So your to-dos got creative writing, reading response, which you will get a details and feedback on that this week. And then more forum post with each other where you annotate Story of an Hour. I look forward to seeing lots of your conversations this week. There's lots of really interesting things to chew on with this American literary voice in this transitional period. So I look forward to seeing what you all have to say. Thank you. Have a great one. I hope you didn't get snowed in.